As you grow and as you scale, those lack of systems are going to absolutely crush you. If you're doing it for the applause, if you're doing it for the banners instead of the margins, then congrats, you are now the owner of a very, very expensive hobby. If you are disorganized, if you are frantic, if you are unsure, if you're passive aggressive, guess what your team is going to adopt? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Cotton, and today we are going to be diving into 5 things being a business owner taught me and 5 things that just hurt my soul that I learned being a business owner. Now, before we get into the episode, make sure you've gone over to Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook and All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners and joined those Facebook groups. Also, check out nextgenowners.com to learn more about how to join the Academy. And if you want to join us for our conference in Dallas, June 20th through the 22nd, make sure that you go to ngconferences.com where you can get registered. Also, you can check out the schedule and everything we have going on at that conference. It's going to be amazing. So, for those of you who don't know, my journey into being a business owner was kind of abnormal. I didn't set out to be an entrepreneur. When I was a little kid, all I ever wanted to be was a police officer. That's what I dreamed of. That was my entire goal in life, was to become a police officer. And then it shifted and I wanted to go into, believe it or not, theater. So much so that I was a major in theater all the way to my 3rd year of college. When I decided to switch, my call to serve was too great. I joined the Army because I was very swayed by 9/11 and I wanted to serve and join the military, and I wanted to get back into the law enforcement trend. And I never thought in a million years that I was going to be a business owner. I never even really thought that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. But the opportunity arose after I'd been coaching in college and I met my wife and we got married, and the gym that we worked at, we had the opportunity to buy it. And so we decided to take that option. And through the last 15 years, I have learned so many different things. They've all been very, very important. Some of them have been incredibly painful. And ultimately, I want to help save you from some of those pains. Or if you've been through them, I want you to just know that you're not alone, or remind you that these things are really important for you to remember. So these are just some of my key lessons learned as I've gone through my life as an entrepreneur. Number 1 is you are the culture. If you are disorganized, if you are frantic, if you are unsure, if you're passive aggressive, guess what your team is going to adopt? Those things. Leadership isn't just what you say, it's also what you do, the tone that you set, the example that you give. So if you want to have a thriving culture where your staff covers down and supports each other and is drama free and all of those other kind of things, then you have to be that culture. You've got to set yourself at the top of that pyramid and be the example. You cannot bring yourself down to kind of be frenzy with your staff or have those moments and then expect them not to follow suit. I see this a lot of times with gyms that say they maybe have a rough culture with their staff, and then not all the time, but oftentimes you find that the gym owner is often too friendly with their staff. You know, they're going out for drinks and they're hanging out all the time. And I'm not saying you can't go out for drinks, but they're going out to the club and they're partying together and they're doing all those things. And it doesn't always correlate to having a conducive staff environment. You at some point have to separate yourself. You have to be the professional. You have to be the culture. So if you're looking at what's going on in your culture, you have to look at yourself first. What is the example you are setting? This is something that you can change. This is something that you can become better at. I have not been perfect at it my entire career. There are many things that I've done wrong culturally that I've learned over the years. I've gotten older and wiser and smarter, and I've done better. And I even still to this day will make mistakes, but know that you are the culture. Number 2, boundaries are not optional. Every time you say yes to something you hate, a piece of your soul slowly dies. On top of that, every time you say yes to something, you take away focus from the thing that you really need to be working on. Someone that I really respect talks about focus not being how hard you can work on something, but being about the amount of things that you can say no to. If you start to set very real boundaries early on with your clients, with your staff, with all of those things, you will find that you will have success much faster. Now, this is something that I am continually working on because I suck at this. I am a say yes to everything kind of person. If you need help, I'm going to say yes to it. The only thing I'm not going to say yes to very frequently is if you ask me if I need help, I'm going to say, no, I got it, which is, I know it makes absolutely no sense. I want to help people, but I don't want to ask for help. But you have to set boundaries. I learned early on as a gym owner, by turning my phone on Do Not Disturb at 10 p.m., 99.999% of the text messages I was getting late at night could be responded to the next morning. By not opening my email after 9 p.m. and not responding to things after I'm normally not at the gym, I didn't suddenly lose a ton of business. Now, this is also because I have a website that sells for me. I have a bunch of other things that make it so I don't always have to be answering and at, my business's beck and call, but you need to create very real boundaries. Your clients will take as much as you're willing to give them. And what you tolerate, you give permission to. So you need to ensure that you are setting very clear boundaries with your business, with your staff, with your clients, with all of those things. It's going to help you stay sane, be happy longer, and keep your soul fully fueled and you loving your gym. Number 3 is that systems save sanity. So passion is cute until you forget payroll because your system is an Excel spreadsheet titled final version 2. And you realize that you didn't have any systems. And just because you're really, really passionate and you're really, really nice doesn't mean that things are actually going to get done. So you have to have very real systems in place, meaning you're using softwares to manage things. You're using staff with trained systems where they know how to do things. You have to build these systems into your business, which is why anytime I talk to someone who's running a cheer gym and they're like, no, I don't really use a class management software, I don't want to have that. I'm like, you have to get one. And, oh, well, I don't need to do any sort of like payroll. I'll just write people checks each month, or I'll just, have people fill out a spreadsheet, whatever. Like, don't do that. There are softwares, most of the class management softwares have a time clock in them. There are also free time clock options out there. So bring all of those things together into one place where you have systems built and you're not having to just fly by the seat of your pants and just do kind of whatever floats your boat. Because as you grow and as you scale, those lack of systems are going to absolutely crush you because no one's going to know how to execute on the thing that maybe you can execute on. So systems are going to save your sanity. They are going to make it so you can delegate effectively. And when you delegate, things are going to get done the way you need them to get done. If you don't build systems, you cannot expect that things are going to be done the way that you need them to happen. Now, systems building is not my favorite thing. In fact, like there's certain systems I like building, but generally I like building like the framework, like this is what the system should look like. But then the actual details of like, okay, click this, do this. I don't enjoy that at all. But there are people who love it. So find those people who can help you build those systems, or find done for you templates that you can modify, like we have in the Next Generation Gym Owners Academy, that you can just tweak a little bit and then make your own. There are all sorts of ways to expediently create your systems. And if you're not using AI and various softwares like Tango or Loom or Gemini or ChatGPT or all the different things to create your systems, you're missing out and you're just perpetuating the cycle of inefficiency and a lack of sanity. Number 4, profit over popularity. If you're doing it for the applause, if you're doing it for the banners instead of the margins, then congrats, you are now the owner of a very, very expensive hobby. Run the numbers, love your mission, but price like a grown-up. All right. Now, this was a very hard lesson learned. When I first started, everything was about competitive cheer. That was the only thing we cared about, was competitive cheerleading. everything else was an afterthought. And it quite literally took me way too many years to pivot and really focus on other elements of my business, understanding how to run the business, understanding how to price correctly, understanding how to have diverse revenue streams like classes and birthday parties and how important those things are to my gym. You have to put your profit and your revenue first. Popularity is great, but banners don't pay the bills. Okay. You're not going to be able to cash that banner in at a pawn shop to get money to pay the rent or make the payroll. You have to make sure that you're building in profit. And I know that that's no one's exciting thing to talk about. Most of us are in this business because we love kids, because we love cheer, because we love coaching, but you have to be profitable if you want to stay in business. It is more important than the wins, the popularity, and all of those other things. Profit has to be a factor in every decision that you make. And lastly, your team reflects your tolerances. So if you keep hiring chaotic staff members, allowing them to do whatever they want, and then wonder why things constantly feel like a circus and why you can never have stable staff members, the problem really is you. The standards you tolerate becomes the brand that you live with. So you need to remember that when you're hiring, you got to hire the right people for your culture, and then you have to enforce your culture. And if those people do not align with it, then you need to let them know right away. And if they don't meet your culture, then you need to part ways. And this is something in the cheer industry people are so hesitant to do because it's so hard to find staff at all, that we oftentimes will over tolerate things that we should not be tolerating. And what you would be surprised at is the amount of staff that actually do want a dynamic environment where they are held accountable. People crave structure. They want it. They want to know that they can reliably predict what's going to happen at their job. They don't want to know, or they don't want to have it be like, I don't know if Sarah's going to show up today or if John's going to scream at me. That's not fun for anyone. So what you tolerate is going to very quickly impact your business. I've said this a number of times. So you've got to really work on that. And you got to make sure you are hiring the right people, the people that are going to help you grow your gym. Now we're going to get into some of the things that just kind of crush my soul, some of the sarcastic things here that are all too real that I came up with. So number one is I thought that I'd have freedom, and in reality, I have meetings. And many people talk about being an entrepreneur because you can set your own schedule and it's your own life. And, I don't have to answer to anyone. I just answer to myself. And the reality is that's absolutely bull hunky. Like that's not true. If you want to go back to my episode of I'm an entrepreneur, my boss is a major a-hole, because I'm my own boss and I am the least forgiving to myself. I work myself to the bone because there is no other option, because it's the buck stops with me kind of attitude. You think you're going to have a business and have all this freedom, but owning a business is like saying, I don't want a boss, and then immediately hiring 27 tiny bosses who then are telling you what they think should be happening and what they need and what they want at all times, be it clients and staff, etc. Like owning a business, you now work for your staff, you work for your clients, you work for your athletes. All of those people have a say in how you spend your time and how you run your business. So it is very much more like, hey, I now own a business and I actually have to work really, really hard to protect my time. And even then, the more successful you are in business, the more meetings that you have. When I first started, the meetings I was having were like parent meetings who were unhappy with things that were running. Now, in a given week, I have roughly 14 meetings that are not with parents, that are like scheduled reoccurring meetings, be it with my tumbling director, my stunt director, Tori. I have a scheduled meeting with Danielle, a scheduled meeting with Samantha, a scheduled meeting with Shelly, a scheduled meeting with my next gen team, a scheduled meeting with my dream camp staff. Like that's 9 right off the top of my head. And I think there's 12 or 13 more. And that's not even counting the coaching calls that I do with next gen. So I constantly have scheduled meetings that I'm having to attend as a business owner. Number 2, I mistook busy for successful. So I was like, look at me. I'm so busy. I'm doing so great. I'm responding to these emails until 1 a.m. I'm so busy. I'm doing all of these things. And really, that didn't mean I was successful. That just meant I was inefficient. I was saying, oh, I'm working all the time. And then when I actually audited my time, I was only working for a small portion of it. And the rest of it, I was distracted or bouncing around or being inefficient. And being busy does not actually mean you are being effective or successful at running your gym. Being busy just means you're being busy. Now, I'm not saying that you're not busy when you're running a great gym. I am busy. That's normally people are like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm really busy because I am. I run 3 companies. I coach 2 teams. I have 3 kids. I try to do all of the things. I try to stay fit. I'm very, very busy. That's just a fact. Now, what kind of busy you are, though? Are you busy and effective? Are you working efficiently, or are you just busy for busy's sake? And that is the key component that you have to learn, is what is busy for busy's sake and what is working on the business. Number 3, I can't be replaced, but I absolutely should be. So as a business owner, it's often easy to say, I can't be replaced because I do everything the way I want it to be done. No one else can do it like me. No one else can sell like me. No one else can, understand the schedule like me. And you're right. That is true. But Dan Martell talks about it in his book, but 80% done by someone else is 100% freaking awesome. And that is absolutely true. Like if I can get someone to do 80% of something and then I just carry it the last 10% of the way, or like I do the first 10, then they do the 80, then I do 10, like that's amazing. It saved me so much time. And even if someone is doing something maybe not as good as I can do it, doesn't mean they shouldn't be doing it, because my time can be better used in other areas. Again, I'm the business owner. I'm supposed to be the CEO. I'm supposed to be the captain of the ship. So I shouldn't be down below rowing the boat. I shouldn't even be steering the boat. I should be making the plans of who's going where and which route we're taking and all of those other things. I should be coordinating those things, not be the one with my hands right in it. So although I can't be replaced, I absolutely should be doing everything I can to replace myself everywhere I possibly can in the business. I have Googled how much to sell my business for more than once. And that is absolutely true. I have looked at what it would take to sell my business, or could I close the doors more than once. You are going to have really rough times. There are going to be times in your business that things are going to suck. I've come to learn that being successful in business is not always about how smart you are. It's definitely not about how lucky you are. It's more about how much you can endure, how long you're willing to go before quitting. And if quitting is just simply not an option for you, you are likely going to be successful. If you can endure long periods of suffering, long periods of hard work, you will eventually come out on the other side. The fact of the matter is that being able to endure pain is what growth is. When you are growing, you are likely experiencing pain. Now, there are times where you're experiencing pain where you're not growing, but that means you're not learning from the pain. There is no growth without pain. If you get a bunch of people, it's likely going to be painful because you're going to find all sorts of holes in your systems. When you work out, to grow muscle, you have to break it down, you have to stretch it, you have to tear it, and then it grows. Okay. There is no growth without that pain. So knowing that, yes, it's fine to work towards selling your business. And to be frank, I would love to sell ODT someday. Your options are either you die with an asset, you give it to someone you care or love about, like your children, or you sell it, or you close. Those are the 4 options. That's all you got. So obviously selling is certainly one that I hope is someday down the road, or passing it off to my children, building an asset for them. But being able to endure and being able to say, okay, I know maybe I want to sell it today, but I'm not going to, and never quitting is the secret recipe to being successful. The only reason I'm where I am today is simply because I have not quit. There were a million options to quit. And in fact, I could have quit and fully focused on being a law enforcement officer, and Tori could have gone to be a teacher because she had her degree in that. We could have left this life a long time ago, but it was only through our pure just unwillingness to quit on things that we are here today. Number 5 is sometimes I pretend to be in meetings so I can sit in silence. Now, this is absolutely true. There are times where I will, a Zoom call, maybe someone misses it, and I will not open up my schedule in any way or shape or form, or I will be in my office with the door closed and people think I'm here recording a podcast and they don't knock, and I will just sit gloriously in silence so I can recalibrate, so I can recenter and take a deep breath. Now, they don't happen very often, probably about 10 to 15 minutes a day if I get it. but I do think there is value in slowing down and stopping and just taking a breath and just being in silence. No music, no podcast. And you guys, I'm notorious for this. I leverage every moment of my day from when I wake up to when I go to bed. I'm generally speaking leveraging every moment. When I'm driving, I'm listening to podcasts like this. I'm listening to things that are growing my business. I maybe do about 30 minutes to an hour of a non-growth oriented entertainment. So a YouTube video or a Netflix show. That's about it. The rest of my time is leveraged towards a goal. So trust me when I tell you that a 10 to 15 minute quiet time is absolutely wonderful for me and makes a huge difference in my life. Being a business owner is one of the most empowering, humbling, rage-inducing, purpose-building things that I've ever done. I've learned a lot and I've failed a lot and I've grown into someone who can laugh at the silly things in life and be excited about the growth that I'm seeing in my businesses. So as we conclude the episode, I would ask that you share this with another entrepreneur who is going through the same things, who is growing and learning and getting better. And if you enjoyed this content, please get registered for our conference in Dallas, June 20th through the 22nd, or inquire how you can join the Academy, because I would love for my company to help you become a better business owner and grow your gym. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. With that, we'll catch you on the next episode.